Correspondence. Any items were sent or received by the commission since the last regular meeting, and I've got a copy folder. I need a copy of them for the secretary here. Anybody have anything, any correspondence? Commissioner Rain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Usually in most of the minutes of all the meetings from the county advisory boards, they're polite and professional in what they do. However, there was some accusations that were made in the minutes of one particular one that I was forced to write a response to, and it was a 2-page response I'll put into the folder here. But in part, I don't want to go into the whole thing. It's basically the minutes of the Elko Cab meeting of 2 December 2009. Several very serious slanderous accusations were recorded as being made by the County Advisory Board Chairman there, Mr. Ken Wellington, and in what I took to be an attempt at defamation of character of myself and the Board of Wildlife Commissioners Chairman, Dr. Gerald Lent. Actions by both of us were twisted, misrepresented, and things that we did not do were completely fabricated and portrayed as facts in your minutes. I understand these draft minutes subject to revision, and sincerely hope much was written in them and is an error. Basically, I quoted the minutes in several sections from their meetings. Several locations in here. For instance, twice in your minutes, your cab chairman states that I was upset over various things, and the way it would put in the minutes, these are slanderous versions of the facts. It is my opinion that speculation as to who was upset about what is not relevant to nor appropriate in a discussion of game management. And I'll hope that you'll agree with me and ask your chairman to retract his statements and cease portraying his own personal insulting versions of the emotional status of commissioners while he remains on the board. I mean, it's perfectly fine as representing their board. I send it to them. I hope they don't find that is what they want representing their board. And to finish with, Elk County's many serious wildlife issues must work together to resolve. And I hope you'll agree that having your advisory board chairman slander and lie about the chairman, vice chairman, and Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners at your meetings is not effective in the resolution of these vital wildlife issues.
Thank you. I'll put that in the file here. I have a lot of correspondence I'll read into the record here. The first one was from the Wildlife and Habitat Improvement of Nevada, and it says, Mrs. Hullinger, it was written to Maureen, pursuant to our conversation and email traffic, WIN cannot accept the Auction Heritage Fund wild turkey tag that was granted to us. I failed to recognize when you contact me regarding the tag to our fundraiser that our fundraiser will be after the spring turkey season, and that tag must be used to support a group fundraiser rather than marketed as a standalone exercise. And they sent the tag back, and so I think we just got to be careful when we got to check these out to make sure that we know when their function is versus when the tag is, and there's an oversight, or maybe they changed their function, but we lost a turkey tag, and if that would have been a sheep tag, it would have been disastrous, I think. So we just want to make very sure that they can comply with the requirements of their fundraiser within the time the tag is going to be distributed. So they sent the tag back on that. I had another letter from Chairman Lent, Elko County Wildlife Advisory Board. On December 2nd, 2009, the Elko County Advisory Board held a meeting about the Wells Elk Resource Goose Creek Subplan. We had several requests for this item to be placed on the agenda. Elko County Commissioner Charlie Myers and I felt it needed to be addressed per sportsman's request. The item was agendized as the Wells Resource Elk Area Plan, Goose Creek Subplan, and was an action item After hearing comment and department input from Elko County Advisory Board to Manage Wildlife, they voted unanimously to ask that this be placed on the February 2010 Wildlife Commission agenda as an action item. Our request would be that the commission create a steering committee as set forth by commission policy to review the Wells Elk Resource Plan, Goose Creek Subplan. Ken Wellington. I got another email, and it said, and it was addressed to Suzanne, but it also sent to me. Suzanne, the policy I was referring to was voted in by the State Wildlife Commission 2 years ago, which outlines the elk plan revision process. I did not know there's a requirement to have an item placed on the state wildlife agenda to be accompanied with the minutes of a county board meeting or the comments from the State Wildlife Commission from our county. If Mr. Lent doesn't want the item on the agenda, then that is his call to deny a request. I will make sure to forward this comments and lack of cooperation to the sportsmen in our area and across the state. I will be approaching the Elko County Commission to update them on the lack of cooperation, the demeanor, and the arrogance of the current Wildlife Commission. I will ask for this agenda request to now be in writing from Mr. Lent. Ken Wellington, Elko County Board. Had a letter from Don King requesting it be put on the agenda also, and to formalize a steering committee. I responded to Don King, dear Mr. King, thank you for your letter regarding the Goose Creek Elk Plan and our phone conversation suggesting solutions. I am enclosing a copy of the letter I sent to Ken Wellington regarding this issue. After reviewing the ESMP with department personnel, I instructed them to begin the process with the federal agencies involved and to bring it to the commission. I hope we can all be part of this process. Thank you for your input. And the letter I sent to Mr. Ken Wellington, Chairman, Elko County Advisory Board, and I guess he's not here today, but this letter is in response to a recent request for the Board of Wildlife Commissioners to initiate review of various elk subplans. In an effort to better understand the process to initiate such a review, I recently met with Director Mayer and Game Division staff. Eastern Region Game Supervisor Larry Gilbertson gave a very fortunate overview of the multiple processes which resulted in the various elk plan subplans which exist today. Some came about through federal land use planning process and were adopted as state plans prior to the adoption of the Nevada Elk Species Management Plan. The ESMP was prepared and adopted in 1997 by the Board of Wildlife Commissioners in response to Assembly Concurrent Resolution number 46 and provides guidance today for the management of elk in Nevada. The Elk Species Management Plan Committee prepared an elk subplan initiation and elk subplan revision process, which provides guidance as to how elk subplan revision should proceed. It states for revisions, the Board of Wildlife Commissioners will initiate an elk subplanning process in accordance with Nevada Elk Species Management Plan through the following actions. When the Nevada Department of Wildlife documents the need for an elk subplan revision to address changing conditions or documented concerns, NDOW shall collaborate with federal land managers to verify the need to initiate an elk subplan revision process and advise the director. The director shall appraise the Wildlife Commission. The Wildlife Commission will appoint a steering committee, a chairman within 3 months. In keeping with that process, Director Mayer has agreed that the department will initiate an internal review of changing conditions and opportunities in consultation with appropriate federal land managers. You are encouraged to contact Mr. Gilbertson to express your concern and ideas for elk management in Nevada. Until this process is completed, the need for the establishment of a steering committee will not be placed on the commission agenda. Once I hear back from Director Mayer on this issue, appropriate action will be taken by the Board of Wildlife Commissioners. I thank you for your interest in elk management and invite you to stay engaged in the process. That was my response to Mr. Wellington. I had another letter from Mike Cox, Chairman Lent. They had a problem where they wanted to, as we pass a policy that we do predator management before we do any transplant or translocations, and Commissioner Pearl wanted with the current transplant plan, and that created a little bit of a problem. and I'll read the letter. It says, below is the Bighorn sheep transplant projects we have planned in the next 2 weeks, January 12th to the 18th, along with associated predator control efforts that Wildlife Service is planning to conduct. And he listed 6 projects here. California bighorn augmentation in the Jacksons, desert bighorn release in Gold Buttes, Clark County, desert bighorn release in Delmar Mountains, Lincoln, desert bighorn sheep release in Meadow Valley Mountains, Lincoln County, desert bighorn sheep release in the South Bronx in Lincoln County, desert bighorn sheep release in the South Stillwater, Churchill County. And he further states, there is currently ongoing bighorn protection being conducted in the Delmar and Meadow Valley Mountains by Wildlife Service. As you know, Kevin Langsterd, our predator staff specialist, has coordinated with Wildlife Services this week, and they have agreed to implement predator assessments and any necessary controls in the Jacksons, Gold Buttes, South Bronx, and South Stillwater ranges. They're adding on temporary staff to help with the groundwork, but will not be able to complete all of the assessments and control work before the bighorn releases that are planned for the period of January 12th to the 18th, which they have the helicopter already planned. Wildlife Services has assured Kevin that through the end of January and the month of February, they will continue to conduct their predator assessments and control work for the sites listed above. I appreciate your understanding of the timing of the capture, net gun crew availability, and Wildlife Service availability to conduct predator assessment and control work associated with the bighorn releases. Sincerely, Mike Cox. And I think I carbon copied all the commissioners on here, so I took the prerogative and wrote a letter to Director Mayor. Per our phone conversation today, we discussed a situation whereby you have planned sheep release for a period of January 12th to the 18th into these 6 ranges. I appreciate your desire to implement the Commission's recently adopted policy of doing predator control before and after transplants are accomplished in order to give the animals a better chance of establishment and survival. I understand Wildlife Services, who have contracted with you to do the predator service in these areas, is not able to complete all the assessments and control work in these areas before the bighorn releases occur. You have been assured that through the end of January and February, they will be able to continue to conduct their predator assessments and control work for these sites as listed above. I also understand timing of the above transplants is critical to your program. In this regard, this commission will do everything possible to help you in your management of this agency. Therefore, in this situation, an exception is warranted, and I think it would be appropriate for you to proceed with these transplants. And I signed as chairman, and I carboned the commissioners and the governor, and that was a letter I sent out. And we can discuss any of these, but I just thought that was a thing we had to do because we're not going to have a commission meeting, and we had to do something, and I thought that was appropriate to send out. Do we have anyone? I never heard any discussion from any commissioner. Commissioner McBeth?
Yeah, I think the letter Chairman Lent sent raises the issue of what are the authority of our policies. What are they mandatory, or are they policies that we do have the ability to maybe bend a little when situations warrant?
Again, Brian Stockton for the record, Deputy Attorney General. As I've said before, the policies are guidelines for the department, and the department, I know, tries to follow them as best they can. The reason the policies don't have the absolute force of law where they're mandatory is because they're not adopted in accordance with the requirements of NRS 233B, which is the Nevada Administrative Procedures Act. And that's the mechanism that the legislature has designated for making laws. Now the policies, I mean, the commission's charge is to provide guidance to the department, and that's what the policies do. So I hope that answers your question. They don't have the absolute force of law. In other words, you can't prosecute somebody for violating a policy. However, you can, I don't know, I guess get on them for not following the guidelines, because the commission does have authority to provide guidance to the department. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I just to follow up with that, I don't think anybody is going to fault the chairman of the commission for, for this particular action. But I guess I'm a little concerned that that obviously without the commission having met, I don't know how forceful that letter really was. It probably wasn't, it wasn't, any kind of a binding action at all. And I'm not even sure if the commission, if the department, could have followed it. But I guess I worry, about, other situations that that might arise, and I guess I would have rather seen an emergency, something along the lines of what we did for the getting the commission to put in comments on the pending legislation in our last legislative session, and have an emergency, conference where we do it telephonically or something like that, to where it is binding. But if these policies, aren't truly binding, then I guess that raises the question, is there any concern here? And I guess that's why I just raised the issue. But in the end, I don't think anybody under these circumstances would have liked to have seen those captures and those transplants stopped. And so, that the end result, is a good result. I just want to, keep our eyes open in the future on these kind of emergency things that come up, and maybe we ought to have, some kind of a mechanism in place that we can deal with them, in a way that we will never be challenged if we do have to make a tough decision on something where somebody is going to step up and say, you guys didn't have the authority to do that. The chairman himself did not have the authority to direct anything to the director, and so I just don't want that to ever be the the situation that we end up with. And but again, under these circumstances, I think we got where we needed to be.
Commissioner Capurro?
Yes, I was aware of the actions on it, and Chairman Lent had called me on it and asked whether I would agree to that, because I was the one that presented the argument to adding it to the transplantation program. The issue that we were talking about was capturing about, 25 rams or so in the park in the Boulder City area, which had become a public health and safety issue. Now, I happen to believe that that's enough to be able to provide some wiggle room to say that those sheep could be removed in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare. So, you want to blame somebody, blame me. But simple fact of the matter is that I presume that capture was taken on. I don't think anybody on this panel, I don't know who else might have been contacted, but I was contacted because I was the one that made that motion. So I'd do it again.
Commissioner Capurro, and for the record, I contacted the two most vocal people on this, and one was Commissioner Curl, the other was Commissioner Rain. I contacted these two people because they were the most vocal on the issue, as you recall, during the discussion. So I did contact Commissioner Rain and Commissioner Curl and ask them if we think we should not approve this, and I did have a discussion with Director Mayer, and they had a lot hinging on this, and I got a positive response from Commissioner Capurro and Commissioner Rain on this, and I went ahead and wrote the letter because I didn't feel we wanted to shut down these sheep programs, because of that, and I didn't hear anything from the governor's office either. You got anything to say, Commissioner Rain?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a question for Mr. Stockton. It was about the authority of the chairman of this matter. I would think, I was under the impression the chairman would have some leeway. Where do we fall under, what is the authority? I would have thought the chairman would have leeway to go ahead and do this.
Short answer is no. The chairman doesn't have authority to act for the entire board. The board has to take all its actions in open meeting and by majority vote. The assurance by the chairman, I think he he gave his best estimate of his read of how the commission would come out on, and the department had to decide whether or not they felt comfortable about that to rely on it. So, I mean, the short answer is no. The chair, absent, I mean, like, you can vote to give the chairman authority to make a certain decision, right? But for the chairman just to act unilaterally on behalf of the commission is, it doesn't change what the commission did. Is that clear?
So
Does
what
that
would you
make
recommend
sense?
us do in the future for situations like this?
Well, the most appropriate thing would be what Commissioner Macbeth said. You hold a special, emergency telephonic meeting and have a vote, but you still got to notice it. You still got to have the ability of the public to participate and all those things. I mean, that's appropriate. But like I say, in emergency situations like that, the chairman can obviously, as long as he doesn't poll a majority of the board, it's not a violation of the open meeting law. So where he just got a couple of opinions and those concurred with his, then the department's got to make the call whether or not they feel comfortable enough to rely on that in going against the commission's policies, because I know they do try as best they can to follow the policies of the commission. So, does that make sense?
The problem, Mr. Chairman, is that
Commissioner Cabral?
the problem is that everything that we do doesn't fit nicely into a box that says that we have enough time to notice, to get to input and the like. This was a particular situation where time was of the essence in removing that hurt, again, for the issues that I have indicated. So, whatever we have to do in the future where there is an issue that we don't have, I would have no problem with telephonic, hookups to approve that. But that's a case where it would have been useless for us to have to put it out for input. By the time they got through, there would have been it would have been a useless exercise to.
Director Mayer had a comment.
Ken Mayer for the record. For the record, we went ahead and put sheep on the mountain. Okay. We really want to implement the policies of the commission, and my suggestion, frankly, is that these big policy issues, and this was quite a policy change, that if we take if there's no real immediate, we got to do it today, we need to take the time to kind of fully vet this, because we have no problem next year when we have the heritage dollars available, predator funds available, that we can make proposals that go right along with our capture, and they'll be part and parcel. It would be easy to do that and help wildlife services make sure that they can perform and those things. I was nervous, and my comments were that, gosh, if you look at this year, things are ongoing. We got helicopters scheduled. I know there's going to be difficulties. We had other captures beyond the 25 rams we took out of the park. Anyway, my suggestion is that we maybe go a little slower, maybe have one more commission meeting so we can fully vet these ideas. What's the upside? What's the downside? So we can collectively come to a policy change like this, that we can make sure that we get it done. And I think we would, we wouldn't have these kinds of little hiccups. The hard thing for the commissioners, I know, to understand is that this department's moving day in and day out, and we got programs we're planned, we got people lined up, and so when we get a change like this, it's sometimes hard to implement it immediately because of the processes that the state requires. So anyway, no harm, no foul. We got the sheep on the mountain. We had a good conversation. I was a little nervous for a while, but that comes with the job. So anyway, I think we'll work together in the future and make sure that we fully vet the stuff and we can implement those things that you want us to get done.
Okay, one more letter on correspondence to finish. I sent a letter January 16th to Ken Wellington, Chairman, Elko County Advisory Board. Dear Ms. Wellington, in reviewing the Elko CAB meetings of December the 2nd, 2009, I read your comments regarding Scott Rain and myself. Your remarks are unwarranted and even slanderous, and I am personally demanding that you produce express proof of your allegations. As you're aware from past NDOW Commission meetings, I will not tolerate commentators who besmirch members of the Commission or others in their presentations. You should also be aware that our Deputy Attorney General has ruled such comments amounting to personal attacks or singling out individuals are in violation of Nevada's open meeting law. Again, I'm demanding your proof of the accusations set forth in Elko Cab meeting minutes. Bearing such proof, I am demanding a public apology to the commission and its individual members. And I want the record to show that I did not get a response to my letter from Elko, and I just want the record to show that.
Jim, I do have some more letters.
Oh, you got some? Commissioner McBeth, you got some correspondence?
And I'll go through these very quickly. I got a letter on Chucker policy from Thor Thorlaxon. And I'm assuming that maybe all of the commissioners get these, but I think maybe we need to make sure that we get everything in the file. So he's indicating that the timing of the opening, and so maybe this letter could go to our upland game guys, and they can respond to that. I got this email from a Morgan Taylor, and with regard to the Gang of Five. I didn't realize I was in a gang, but anyway, she's angry.
That's a good way to put it.
I'm glad you didn't read that into the record.
No, I don't think I need to. I also got an email from Don Moldy to me directly, thanking me for some of the issues on the Heritage Trust Funds. And then finally, there is a letter from Bud Sonatag. It's the one that says the ship be sinking, and I think all the commissioners got that one as well.
Any other letters to file? If not, I'll put them in the file for Suzanne here. Back to the agenda.
I have a couple quick ones, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
One is from to you from the Las Vegas airport. It's just about our helicopters and it really doesn't. It's not any biological. I think it's about right away, and then a right away issue with the BLM. So other than that, the other thing, if I could, I want to remind everybody we are going to order lunch for tomorrow, and so we need to have everybody talk to Katie, and we will get sandwiches for anybody that would like we've done in the past, so that we can keep the meeting moving. So we got to fax over our order tomorrow by 10:30. So please, at the break or whatever, hook up with Katie, and we'll get that done.
Thank you. Okay, next item of